Pontificating. Yeah, we back again.
It shows or it displays a kind of emotional maturity to even have that language. So when Salone is like articulating this thing about like, oh, I've never celebrated this thing or that thing or this thing. I never celebrate myself, but I want to celebrate this, and it hurts that you like don't give a fuck enough to come. Yo, like that's not language. When I was feeling that way, that's not language that I had. It just wasn't. It wasn't language that I had to say to myself. It wasn't language that I had to say to anybody else. It wasn't language that I had to sort of share. Do you know what I mean? What I did was withdraw. What I did was internalize my feelings. What I did was have it fuel my own negative self-talk. And that's not to say that that doesn't happen with Salone or my brothers either. I'm sure it does. But the fact that it also fuels this sort of emotional awareness, like watching Osafo, I guess he's O2, with his daughter. Like when I watch the kind of men that they are, when I watch Salone interact maybe less with her family, but very much so with her friends, it says to me it's a very different narrative than what you would expect from folks who have this sort of internalized neglect and abandonment. So I think that's important to highlight because there are a lot of different choices that people can make with the kind of cards that we were dealt. And I feel like they made really good choices.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're such a clown. Look at you. You look so uncomfortable.
No, I'm not well, you know, the baby. I'm bleeding my back. I just took my sugar. You know what I mean? Like I took my sugar test, you know, got the good old pouch. That's what I just did. I'm like, oh shit. But
don't deflect. Don't deflect. Sit in that.
No,
I'm
good. No, I'm good. No, I agree with her. There's so many choices that, you know, I could have. What is it? Off the wagon, on the wagon? What is it? What is the bad one? Off the wagon? I could have been off the wagon a long time ago. You know?
Okay, Jerry Seinfeld.
Right, I'm like.
No, but
I'm like, why are we talking about wagons?
No,
is this the Oregon Trail?
No. No, but seriously, there's a lot of choices I could have made. I think what I do mostly is embrace the comedy in it all, because if I don't, I would not be able. Like I rather laugh about it and make a joke and make a light about it than feed into it and feed into my depression even more, because that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help me. And God knows I am a depressed human being, and I have to laugh about it because shit is comical. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this life? What am I gonna do about it? I gotta laugh about it. And again, this is why my sister and I, we don't talk about things that really like affect us until recently. We're like, wow, we're really fucked up, huh? I even suggested like sibling therapy, because shit, we gotta go through this shit together, because this is crazy. But that's only because, you know, we're getting older, and you know the shit that we've repressed is now like coming full force because we've never dealt with any of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've always dealt with stuff like through comedy and laughter, but
she has. I can vouch.
Shit is not a laughing matter no more.
Right. It's when the hee ha ha run out.
Right.
It's the tears start coming. You're like, oh.
And I didn't realize.
Didn't I say this last week? You gotta stop. You gotta stop numbing yourself, because then you're gonna be in the middle of the motherfucking supermarket bawling. Like, it is not fun.
It's true, and I find myself like, you know, crying, like uncontrollably, like recently, and I'm like, oh, you know, let's just chalk it up to the hormones. And guys, let me tell you, I've been thinking about like childbirth. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, I got the birth plan, this, that, and the third, but obviously things can go awry. Things don't always go as planned. But I'm finding myself even more so deviating from the pain of childbirth into what postpartum will be. And that is where I am currently living in and wondering, like, am I going to be like so despondent? Like, what will I throw the child? Will I just stare at it? Like, will I touch it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, will I touch him? What will I do? Because I don't know, because you're dealing with prior depression and going into something. And it's not like I'm not talking to anyone. It's not like I'm not doing anything about it. But how will that be for me? I don't know. And I'm like, you know, fuck the childbirth. He got to come out anyway. Whatever. It's going to hurt. I'm going to scream. I'm going to cry. It'll be instantaneous, you know, instantaneous relief once he's out. But what do I do after? So this is where the space I'm in right now. And it's making me like very anxious, I don't know how I'll be. And this all goes back to like, you know, past traumas and anxiety, and I don't know, guys.
Even that speech though, like even all of the, I'm so proud. Like I'm sitting here chilling. Like I'm so proud of you. Like I really am, because like again, almost all of the women around me have given birth. Like most of the women in my life have given birth at some point. I can't tell you that I have heard any one of them say those words, even when they're living a similar reality to you, right? They don't have the language to be able to say, or if they have it, they don't have the courage to be able to say that. That, by the way, is another thing that I really appreciate about Salome, but also about this podcast, because you all do talk about mental health, and you're very open about it in a way that, I mean, it's becoming more of a thing that people talk about now, but it's not a thing that I can remember being a popular topic before. And Salome is probably one of the first people that I ever remember even being able to say, I'm depressed, and just say it. Like, and that's the thing that I've always admired. Like, Salome is my younger sister, but like, she has an emotional intelligence that I admire, because those are things I still struggle to say. I still struggle to say I'm depressed, or I still struggle to say I'm anxious, or I'm going to be anxious, or this will make me anxious. Those aren't things that I feel very like forthcoming to say.
Because you've always been strong. Oh, Malika, she don't.
It's not strong. It's hyper independence.
Oof.
It is.
Okay. Come on.
That's exactly what it is. Like I'm feeling
very attacked right now.
No, I'm not an only child. I'm saying this to myself too. I'm not an only child, but I am the oldest, right? So you have to like kind of go through your life figuring things out for yourself first. Like, even though I was in a household with my mom and my stepfather for a really long time, and then he left, and it was like I am the second parent. Now, I've always been bossy. I've always been responsible. That's thrust upon me. But like it's a hyper, because you have to, like, I'm in charge of my life. This is my life. I have to figure it out. And it's like, you don't have to figure everything out, because nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. You don't. Nobody knows what they're doing.
It kind of feels like I do.
No, everybody making this shit up as you go along. Like literally, to the day you die, you are making your days up. And nope, you can have all the plans in the world. There ain't no guarantee. You just wake up every day, you make it up. So you don't. I understand what you like. I do get it, because as you say that, I recognize that in myself, and I'm like, yeah. Up until the pandemic, I renounced depression. I said, this is dumb. Depressed? What the fuck you mean you're depressed? No, you're unfulfilled. Find something to figure out. And then the pandemic happened, and I said, oh. Right. This that thing they was talking about. This is the depression they were talking about. So yeah. Yeah, Salome has always been very forthcoming with the fact that she has depression. I'd be like, girl, shut the fuck up.
I know.
But now it's like, right.
No, it's bad.
I
It's
hear you.
really
I see you,
bad.
sis.
Like I've tried, the therapy thing. Have I stuck with it? Because sometimes you're looking for like an instant shit that works, and it doesn't. You're like, well, it doesn't work. Got to move on. Got to move on to the next thing. And now I'm really like sticking with it, and I'm like, yeah, still really not working. Might need to graduate to the pills, but I gotta get on the meds. But it's like, how do I get off the goddamn meds? And there's people that I know that are on the meds and they're still not well. And I'm like, so what's the girl to do? You know what I mean?
Girl, we're all unwell.
I know, and that's the thing. How do we become well in this kind of
nobody's well
in this climate? It's not set up for us to be well.
No.
It's really not. So what are you supposed to do? You just continue living and like Ty said, just making shit up as you go along. You're like, well, I can feel it coming. I feel it coming. I'm at the point, I saw TikTok the other day where it's like there's new depression, there's old depression, and there's new depression. The old depression, I never felt so seen and so heard. It's like, okay, so you have the blackout curtains. This is when it's coming. You have the bookshelf with shit that you don't read stacked end to end. It's just for the aesthetics. You have the pillows. You need the fuzzy.
Just come for me.
Yeah,
just come for me.
No, the grays. You need the greens. Just the dark curtains. You have to have the blanket that's fuzzy. Rainy days. I have two books underneath my pillow that when it rained a few days ago, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna flip through. Didn't open it, not at all, because it's coming. And then the new depression, you just got the clothes all over the place. Everything's all over. You got to step over shit to get on shit. You pushing the clothes to the side of the bed to lay down, and I'm like, wow,
it's a cycle.
Wow. Like we're all going through this shit. Like everything is gray. Everything is dark. Everything. I need the dark. Because it's coming. It's gonna creep up on you. And I never heard it articulated so well. I'm like, holy fucking shit. So I know I'm depressed, and it's everywhere around me. Everywhere. Every room. I can't even shower with the light.
Yo, I love a dark shower. It's
sorry,
almost my
what?
go-to. A dark shower.
What do you mean?
With the lights off. I love it. I love showering. It's
like
so relaxing.
Like when you light your candles and make it like really ambiance.
No, it's just darkness. I mean, I don't have a curtain in my. I have a my house. I have a big window in my shower.
Yeah.
There's no. It's the fogged out glass, so light does come through, but that's
not
it.
for me.
I just be in the darkness.
Taking a shower. It's part of depression. You don't light no candles. You don't put on no meditate, no gospel, no nothing. You just
the water running dark.
I really think I have situational depression.
Maybe
what y'all talking about is for the big leagues.
I am for the big leagues. I can't.
I'm shower. It is the range. It's just the right temperature. Sometimes I have those little bath salts. I smell it,
and it's really soothing.
And it's just dark. It's just really dark, and it's just so. And mind you, I'm pregnant. 100% do not recommend. Don't recommend. You can't. You need to shower in light when you're pregnant. But my sense of feeling and everything else has just become so heightened. I know where the wall is. I know how to hold on. I know what to do because it's very dark, and it makes me feel alive.
Guys, I am unnerved because I'm like, y'all not afraid of slipping and falling in the shower?
I just said it. 10 out of 10. Do not recommend.
I mean, I'm going to fall anyway.
Yeah.
Wait, why are you gonna fall anyway? Do I even want to know?
I mean, the light doesn't affect that.
Yeah, it's I got the vertigo thing.
I mean, I fell before out the shower. I hit my head on the I fell on the way to work. Well, getting ready for work. I fell out the shower. This is like 2017, 2018. fell out the shower, hit my head on the marble sink.
Actually, she lives alone. She lives alone.
Woke up a few seconds later, and it was a woke up a few seconds later with like my foot in the tub, one foot out the tub, and I was like laying across the bathroom threshold, like because my body was
right now.
And then like I was like, and then I called out of work, and my supervisor was like, "Okay, go to the doctor." I said, "No, I'm going to go to work," and she was like, "Please leave and go to the doctor. I think you have a concussion. Please leave." I did it, but yeah, but now I have a very sturdy bath mat.
Yeah, that's a very important thing. You can't slide. You gotta have the grips on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like while pregnant, I felt a little bit like I caught myself on the edge of the tub. So it was also dark, but you know, that's my bad. You know what I mean? That's
okay. All right. This tangent has been brought to you by we are so off topic.
Life alert bracelet.
Get yourself a nigga alert. Like,
yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I have nothing. I thought I had a question, but I be fake deep, as my aunt says.
Well, I have a question because I was it's more of a observation, and maybe it's me projecting. So if it is, let me know. But I know, like, when you guys are talking, like you and Salome, you're talking about, like, you say my dad a lot. And I know when I was younger, we always said my dad, even though we're all sharing the same nigga. And like, now that we're older, we say daddy. We just say daddy. But we'd be in conversation saying, well, my dad said, it's like, we're talking about the same person at the same time. Why are we saying my? It's so strange. And I think it was like getting older. It was like, we don't have to compete for this nigga. We don't got to compete for him. And not saying you're competing, but I feel like when it's not your nuclear family, it is almost a competition. You must say my dad. Like, I know he's my dad too. And I don't know if we all grew out of it.
Probably.
Because now we just say daddy.
No.
Now we just say daddy.
No.
But when we were younger, my dad would be like, he'd be like, why are you saying my? He's there confused. Like, are the dads different? Because I'm pretty sure y'all all my spawn. But I think it was also coming from saying my mom, because our moms were different. And it became my dad. So I feel like, do you guys feel that when you say it, or have you ever thought about it, or it's just
I just thought about it when I'm saying like my brother, my dad. Like I'm like, oh well, it's her dad too. Like I'm very,
and it's her brother.
And it's her brother as well. And I'm like,
yeah,
this, yeah.
I think, I mean, as an adult, I can now understand I understand it now. As a kid, I didn't understand why my father was confused by us saying my dad. I was like, well, what else? Aren't you my dad? It was like years later, and I was like, oh, okay, we were like kind of claiming ownership unconsciously.
I don't feel that way. I don't
feel that way either.
Not at all.
Mm-mm.
We don't. I don't. Mm-mm. Well, for myself, I don't feel like it's a competition. Like, oh, it's my dad. It's not your dad. It's not. No,
not competing. Like it's not your dad. We all know it's our same dad. But I think it's the distinction of this is also my dad. But I think it comes from also having my mom.
Probably.
No, I think for me it's the practice of having to explain to other people who I'm talking about.
Right.
So like when I'm talking to, because I'm talking to, like I'm right now, I'm not really talking to Salome, right? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm talking to other people. So I keep saying my this and my that so that like I can say, it's like a relational thing, but it's not a claim, I don't think.
Because when we do talk, we say daddy.
We say daddy.
We just say daddy. And I talk to my brothers, we say daddy. Like, we don't say my dad. But I think because...
Do y'all call him daddy?
We do.
Daddy.
Everyone does.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh.
Everyone does.
That is very nice of you. I don't call to this day. If I was to talk if I were to talk to my brother, so I have a brother that I share with my father. That does not sound right. I have a brother on my father's side of the family, a little brother on my father's side of the family. So when I'm talking to my little brother, he'll say daddy. I'll be like, oh yeah, dad, whatever, or like something like that. I call my father nothing. I literally don't say any. I don't call him dad. I've been I think when I was a teenager, it was out of, I don't know. It just kind of felt misplaced. I really didn't know this name. Also, then I was like thrown into this thing. So I just be like, I would call him nothing. Like, or I would call him Ty or something like that. Or if I'm talking to somebody, I'd be like, my father. But if I was talking to him, it'd be like, oh, hey, whatever. Like, it's just a conversation.
Because you really don't know him like that. You just...
Even though I've lived with this man, so I do know him.
Like an anger thing? Like, would you... Like an unconscious...
I think
sort of anger?
I think somewhere in me, I've always known that, like, I don't think he's earned the right. So that's like kind of me holding on to the little power that I had, because I didn't have power in me going to stay with him. Like, I had no say in that. I had to like acclimate and like be a part of his life, because I'm in this house with him. So it's just like you kind of gotta just like get on a good foot. But I've never like chose for myself, so I don't call him anything.
I don't know. It was just established as daddy to begin with.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any meaning. I should start calling him father.
That would be
interesting enough. I call him father when I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, like she called him on Saturday at the shower. She's like, "Hey, father, why are you not here?" I'm like, the way I wanted to throw the phone, I'm like, is he asking how it's going? Unbelievable. I think the picture, the photographer got a picture of me, and I asked
while I was on the phone with Daddy.
I asked him to delete it. I think because I'm like, no, that's really, really bad. Doesn't look good. Make sure that's deleted out the archives, because this is crazy. Like, why are you here? Why are you here? You know what
I will say? I mean, I am all for parent slander, because why'd you bring me here to not love me properly? But it's also like,
not to love me
as
properly. We're
I
gonna
know, that was them.
We're gonna come back to that, because
but let me say, what I'm saying is what I expect, right, from my parents to treat me. Like you see TV, you see other families, you're like, wow, like I want that too. And it's just like, I think my parents, why I'm okay with them now, and okay is day by day, right, is because like as an adult, I'm like, yo, they're just fucked up too. They're just fucked up too. And it's just like, I really have to tell myself over and over again, like, they're just fucked up too. I mean, and now that I'm fucked up, I get it more. Like, I get it more in my bones. I'm like, I fucking get it. Life is hard. You made these decisions that you can't, like my father loved the man. He did not want kids. He did not want children. Or he didn't want them when he had them, rather. My mom either. But my mother doesn't do abortions. So, but also he don't do condoms. So someone's not. Come on, like you don't want kids. Wear a fucking condom. But anyway, but it's like I see, like he was like he had a life trajectory in his mind
that didn't involve,
and then it was like it didn't involve kids, and then now he has kids. And he said something recently. He told me, because I got to ask him, like, were you a deadbeat at first? Because he said he was playing for some team. I don't know what team this could have been. Anyway, and the coach said, do you have kids? And he said he has 2, which means I had to be 3, at least 3 at this point. And he said, and the guy said, well, are you in their lives? And he said, he was like, oh yeah, I should be in their lives. And he told me this story. And I said, wait, in my mind, I said, were you a deadbeat for 3 years? I'm going to ask him later on today. But it's like, I'm not saying it's not fair for him, because you did what you do to make a kid. But it's like, he didn't choose this life. You know what I mean? Like, if he did, but he didn't. And I have a empathy for him now as an adult. My mom as well. Like, you really didn't choose this. You didn't choose. This is not what you wanted. And it's just like, so your parents they're just humans who had you. So I'm not saying you shouldn't be mad at your father, because he should have been there. But it's like, it helps me to be less mad when I understand that they're humans with their own bullshit going on too. Because we all are. You know what I mean? Like, it just helps me to like. It helps me be less annoyed by them, because what am I going to do, right? Like, either I'm going to accept them or I'm not. That's really where I'm at. Either I'm going to accept them as these people in my life, or I'm going to be angry at them all the time. And being angry does not work. I was angry for them for so many years. So many years I hated my parents. I would say to anyone, if they died, I didn't care. I didn't care if either one of them died. I did not care. I had my grandmother. I was like, if they died, yep, good riddance. And then she died first. And I was like, well, ain't that some bullshit?
She's still teaching lessons, huh?
And then I said, then I needed my parents. It was like at 21, I needed my parents.
Yeah.
And that's a big age to need your parents when you haven't needed them or felt you needed them in 21 years. And it was like, I called my mom and I was like, listen, my grandmother's dead. Me and her talk on the phone every single day, all day. You got to answer your phone now. Because before we didn't talk. We talk like, hey, you good? Yeah. I mean, we were close, but also not really. But I was like, answer your phone because I need someone to talk to now. And she had to learn also. She had to learn to answer the phone for me. Like, she would go missing for weeks on end. And I'd be like, you can't do this. I need my mother. Hello. You had a 21-year break. Get your shit together. Answer your fucking phone. I need you right now. So, I don't know. I'm not saying don't be mad at your father. Don't. But I'm just saying, like, to help yourself, understand he's a full-fledged human who has other shit going on.
And even though you forgive them, it's the constant forgiving for the same thing. Because I came to a very clear understanding with me and my mother in that tumultuous relationship when I was like 18, 19. I think that's like the day I was like, I'm done crying. That's it. I've never cried again. It's like, I'm done. Right? And I forgave her because I was like, I understand. Like, I do understand. You love this man. He did you dirty. You were old but young. You inexperienced. Like, I understand this as a woman. Like, I think when I was like 19, 20, and I was like, I couldn't fathom having a child at that age and having somebody else to. I said, I give you that. But then they don't tell you in therapy that you got to keep forgiving the parent for the thing over and over again because it keeps coming back. Right. And then, like you said, your parents didn't love you properly. Are your parents supposed to love you properly or love you to the best of their ability? Because those two things are very different.
They are very different, but I don't know. I didn't know the distinction, right?
Responsibility to know the distinction, right?
Yeah, exactly. All I knew was I was missing a lot of stuff.
Right.
Like you said, you mentioned Parent Trap. That is like my life story. I am constantly parent trapping these niggas constantly because my father, he had essentially three families, and I would go on vacation with their families, with both sets of women. My mom and I and him never had a vacation together. And then my mother got married and I went with them on vacation. And I was like, and to this day, I'm like, listen, guys, I'm turning 40 years old soon. You two are taking me to Disney World without your spouses. I was like, I'm the oldest. I take care of you guys. Like, I deserve to have my two parents take me to Disney World for my birthday. And they're both like, you're right. You're right. Like, it's going to be tricky because we're both married to other people. But I'm like, I deserve this. Like, I've upheld my end of the parent-child relationship. You call me for every damn thing. I deserve to have my parents at like my graduation or at my vacation. And like, I think I discussed it before, like, excuse me, for a long time. And I was like debating, like, do I want a kid or a husband? And like, it took me to like maybe 3 years ago. It was like, no, I want my own family. That's what I've been wanting for so long, was just my own family. I never had my own family.
Yeah.
Of course I did. I had family, but like in the way you see it presented on TV and in the world, it's a mom and a dad and they're in the same home and they go on vacation together. And I've never had that. So for a long time, I wanted one with just any old damn body.
A perfectly nuclear
had the
family.
potential. Yeah, that would potentially giving me like a husband and a child, and we live together. We'd go on vacation together, and that was very important to me, to the detriment of a lot of relationships, like dating men that I shouldn't have been with. Now I'm like, fuck that shit. Who cares? But like, it took like a realization to be like, oh, I was missing this from them, and they still owe it to me. But now I don't need it for anybody else. They owe it to me.
I feel like I'm cashing in with these niggas right here.
Yeah.
There's this quote that I really like by Malcolm X. He's talking about his mom. And I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole, but like, we know that like his mother eventually ended up in like a mental institution and all this other stuff, couldn't take care of her kids, blah, blah, blah. But he has this quote that I really love. And it's something like, I have no compassion or sympathy for a society that will uh, crush people under its systems and then penalize them for not being able to carry the weight. It's something like that. That's not a direct quote. But basically his point is like, you can't, like what the product, what you're seeing, this mental illness, this incapacity to take care of her kids came from somewhere, right? There are all of these different things that converge to create this situation. So you turning around and judging her for what she can or cannot do isn't fair, because there's a bunch of stuff behind that. So to your point, a little bit to your point, I feel like I have space and grace for both of my parents, because I recognize that they were both navigating systems and cultures, and expectations to the best that they have, that they've been able. All that being said, again, comparative suffering never serves anybody, right? So I think that the key, because you use the words like to help yourself, and I'm not really sure that it is to help me. Like in some ways it's also to help them, right? Because
In what way?
well, because it would be easy for me to go to my mom, and I did for a really long time, go to my mom and be like, well, you lied, and you did this, and you did this, and you did this, and you did this, and you did this. And we would both be trapped in that cage, right? We would both be trapped in that guilt. We would both be trapped in that lie. We would both be sort of weighted down by the consequences of that. But for me to be able to say, I understand that you did what you had to do, or I understand that you were navigating these things to the best that you could, also gives her a release, because then she doesn't have to uphold the lie. She doesn't have to uphold the whatever, right? Like she can give herself grace. And I think her being able to do that is important. I also think him being able to do that is important. So like I have had some heated conversations with other siblings who felt some type of way back then about how I would speak about my father, especially my like disappointments and all this other stuff. I would be all kinds of bitches and ungratefuls and all this type of stuff. We don't have to get into that. But what I realized is that her reality is not my reality, right? His reality is not my reality. We each have our own reality. And my dad exists in all of those realities, however he does, right? I can't hold him hostage to, I can't hold him hostage. I can't keep him in that cage of, well, you should have done this, 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 and this. And to me, yes, that helps me, but it also helps him, because it gives him space with me in ways that he doesn't actually deserve, right? Like if we went with
and that's the part I think, and I commend you for that, right? Because you are not seeking answers. That will never be okay with me personally, because I believe that duality is a thing. Two things can exist at the same time. Like, yes, you did this thing and I deserve to know the truth, but I also can forgive you for that because it has already happened, you know?
Yeah.
So I commend you. I could literally never do that. I could literally never do, like, to this day, my mother has never explained to me. I do know why my mother, she didn't have to explain it to me. I do know. My father was into some criminal activity. I look exactly like him. They would walk up to your Ty's daughter and she'd be like, you do not ever say that you are, because who knows what the fuck your father did to these people. And I get that. You felt that you had to protect me the best way that you can. But also within that, you deprived me of something else on purpose because you were mad at that man. And I understand that as well. But two things can exist. My anger can exist. Your explanation can exist, and I can understand that and let that be that. But I'm never gonna allow people to not own up to the choices that they made that I had absolutely nothing to do, because it's unfair to me, and then it brings the burden on me to figure it out, and it's not my job to.
But it's not, but exactly. It isn't your
Yeah.
job to. And I think the other part of it is I don't think the reason why I think the burden isn't on me to figure it out is because y'all not trying to figure it out. You not trying to figure it out. You got me beat by at least 3 decades, ma'am.
Right.
You got me beat by at least 4 decades, sir.
Do they have a relationship?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It would never happen. Daddy once, do you remember this? Do you remember when Daddy once was like, "Oh, tell your mother I said hi." Do you want to die today?
You never told her hi?
Absolutely not.
Why? Like, oh my God. My mother she hated my father. I mean, I couldn't even, I think a lot of the treatment that she gave me, the rough treatment that I got coming up, is because I look exactly like him. And then that's
Same.
some other psychological shit that I had to like
Right.
kind of forgive her for.
Same.
Is like, this child looks exactly like you, spitting image of
And acts
you.
like you too.
And acts like, yeah. So that is a mind fuck every day. But also, as an adult, I was like, I don't care anymore. Like, I spent a lot of time at my paternal grandmother's house, and like, if you will need to find me, come see me. Come Shauna at Bell House. If you're looking for me and I'm not answering my phone, it's an emergency, just come on over to the house. And my mother would just like wait outside. And after a while, I was just like, look, I don't care. Like, I don't care. He with somebody else. I said, actually, you looking for a man. He don't have a good woman. Maybe y'all should just be together. And then she would just like start coming over. And it's like, I don't, whatever y'all got going on. Like, my father called me one day because he ran into the club. He was at the club and he ran into my mother at the club. This man was in the bathroom and he called me. He said, your mother at the club. What should I do? I was like, sir, I don't know. Also, why are y'all at the club? But like, after a while, y'all gotta, I'm here already. And I'm not gonna like divide myself to like, it ain't my shit.
Oh, I agree with you, but that's why I'm not passing messages. You have something to say, you can find that lady.
That is true.
I'm not passing messages. One thing that you should, like, both of my parents have a temper, like a crazy temper. That's another thing that I know about, like, I know where I get it from. And that, like, from the stories that even my father just shares with me about my mom, my mother never shares anything about my dad. Well, but just based off the stories alone, like, they are fire and gasoline. Like, it would, any kind of interaction between the two of them would be nuclear. And I'm just not here for the fallout. Like, I have my own shit to deal with. Like,
yeah,
I'm not passing messages for either one of you. That's why, again, when they hit me with the, well, if your dad would just, or if your mom would just, I'm like, I don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
I would, whenever you're ready, I would urge you. I would encourage you. No, I would, because
urge you to what?
I would encourage you to at least like try to kind of get them on a common ground, because you deserve that. No, listen, I was where you were. I would tell you,
no, ma'am.
One day,
one
day, my father found our telephone number when I was living with my mom. Mm-hmm. Found the number, called. I spoke to him. So happy. The next day, my mother changed the phone number. That's how much she did not like. When I tell you, it's not. I'm not like exact. Like when I tell you, my mother hated I couldn't say his name. Like when Call Tyrone came out, like that. It is not playing in the house. Like it's not like that woman did not give a fuck about him like at all. But at some point, like it is a treat to just like have both of your parents like kind of.
It's very tricky. No treats over there.
No treats.
All
No
tricks.
She was that was actually that was a very good use of the word tricky.
But you know,
She said very
because
tricky, no treats.
the same way that I have to live with the consequences of these two people's decisions. Like my father's decisions have consequences for my mother to this day. Like real lived
That's valid.
financial, like
That's valid.
like safety, all of the, and I won't get too far into it, but it has real life consequences. She's still dealing with those consequences today. So
it's not okay.
I'm not
right. It's not your fault.
that's a no.
I get that.
That's a no. It would be different
That's
if it was
different.
just like a romantic entanglements, ancient history, stepdad, stepmother, blah 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 blah. If it were just that,
I'm
then
gonna have
maybe.
to find out about what's going on. See, again, what's going what happened? What happened?
It's like a true little
What's going
sister.
on?
Like a true little sister.
Right.
I'm like, what
Listen.
happened? What's going on here?
Yeah.
No idea what's
So
going
yeah,
on.
no, that's gonna be a no.
Okay.
But what I will say is that the other day, I don't think I told you this alone, because I usually go to Jersey. My mother lives in Jersey. I usually go to see her on the weekends. And last weekend I didn't go, and I didn't go because I was going to go to Salone's baby shower. And I actually said that, which is a big step because, like your mom, like I don't want to. That side doesn't exist. As far as I'm concerned, you were like immaculate conception. Like there was no other person in this equation. So, you know, this weekend when I talked to her, she was like, "Oh, how did it go with your sister?" And with no resentments, nary a snarky comments, not a bitch or nothing in sight. It was just a regular, oh, how did things go? Really pleasant. And I was like, check you out with all that growth.
That's so
Yes.
That's so crazy. I'm like the baby. She know I don't know nothing. She know that. But I guess by association.
By association.
Yeah,
I get
by
it.
association. Also, to Salone's credit, Salone is the only person from my father's side of the family that has ever even met, well, except Steve, obviously, who allegedly met with my aunt how many other years ago. But Salone is the only person who's ever met, like even been to my house. And like met anybody on the other side, on my mother's side of the family. So like
that was so long ago.
You know, Salone gets a check. She gets a point for having even bothered.
Even years ago.
Years ago, she still gets brownie points for that one effort. Like years ago,
right?
No.
Right. She was just like, "Oh, I like it here. This is nice.
This is nice. Okay, Quinta."
Okay, we have been talking for quite some time. I would just like, Malika, thank you so much for your generosity to share yourself. It is not lost on us, and I hope the people get something from it. But even if they don't, I thank you, and we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I had a good time.
Cool story.
Chilling with
nice
my little
learning.
sister.
It was a good talk.
Yeah, I know. I only because we didn't hear Salone's side of the story, and I would just love to like. But she said she was young, but
no, of course I was very young. What side of the story?
Because it had to be. It wasn't like weird to you navigating these relationships with these siblings.
A lot of it is repression.
So people don't know this whole thing. This episode came together because we were talking. It started with some lady named Rhonda, and I was like, "What?" That literally is what we were on the phone. And I said, "Who's some lady named Rhonda?" And then she was telling me the story, like her and her partner, and I was like, "That's wild." I was like, that is wild. But also, like, I was like, oh, Malika, and our stories are kind of similar. I said, that's wild as hell. But I never had to I mean, I had a younger brother, but he was like so much young. He was like a 6 or 7 year old. So it's always fun to have another big sister. And I knew him before my grand disappearance, but it wasn't like you never like questioned your dad. You never asked any questions.
Salome, me.
Yeah.
It's no, I mean, Daddy throws a lot of hints. He's like, oh yeah, there's this person, there's that person, and then we never really think about it because there's so many of us, and then it's just another person. But then when it really like materializes and there is another person, like, well, he did say. He tells us like, different continents, we have different brothers and sisters, and I will always be able to tell.
And how many of there are you for the listeners to know?
Right.
Over 20 something. I don't know, honestly. And again, some lady named Rhonda, I don't know what number she makes, but she's
that I just found out about, by the way. Salome told me that.
Yeah. So I've never spoken to her. And when I saw her picture, I'm like, yeah, this is a bishop. I can tell, like, we have like distinguishing features that you cannot. My sister had on a mask in 2020. We were, protesting the George Floyd, and I told my partner, I'm like, yeah, that's my sister. He's like, how? I'm like, I don't know, the eyes, I could see it. Her nose, I could see a little bit of nose, and also her nail beds.
Oh my God!
He's like, her nail beds. I'm like, it's a thing. It's my father's. I can tell.
I have no idea what she's talking about.
She had no idea. She had her hair cut off, like she had on a head wrap. But I knew this was my sister. That just goes to say that our genes are very strong, and we can always tell. So when I saw that some lady named Rhonda, I knew that was my sibling. Did the ancestry and everything like that. But what am I to do? Like, what do I? I'm still waiting for an introduction, and I'm still waiting.
That's what I'm saying. Do you feel a responsibility to like now have a relationship with your siblings?
I feel some kind of way, because it's like, I think about
the same question is to you, Malika.
I think about them. Like, how do you feel? Like, at least I know who I am, or I think I know who I am. But to now care that you probably always have thought that you weren't who you are, but you kind of like repressed it. You don't know, but you kind of have an inkling that something else is up. And in our sister that we just found, in her case, she always knew that there was something that she wasn't who she was. So I feel like it's my responsibility to like reach out and to find out, but I don't know if I'm really ready yet. Like, I don't know if I'm ready yet, because there's like, she has, 4 children, and maybe they have, I don't know. But now it's a whole other part of my life, and I'm dealing with my life, and now I have to like integrate them into mine, and it's no fault of theirs, but it's just draining. Honestly, it's just really, really taxing and draining when you yourself are not well. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of it for me is repression. I just repress a lot. I just know that there's a lot of us, and it would be nice to know. It would be nice to know all of your siblings, but I just repress a lot, and I hear a lot of things, and why this didn't work and why that didn't work, and it puts me in a position like, well, he's still with my mother, but is he? Because kind of like left. It puts me in a position. It's like, oh, you guys are the chosen ones because he only married your mother. You know what I mean? So it's like, where do I stand? Like, how do I fit into this equation? What did I do wrong? You know what I mean? Like, you guys are hating on me. Well, y'all are the spoiled ones, and y'all are this, and he married your mom, and he did our mom dirty, this, that, and the third. And it just leaves me and us in a position of like, well, do y'all like us? Like, like what do I do? Because half the stories I don't know. They don't tell me anything. They treat you and me and my brothers as children, so we don't know anything that's going on, anything within the family, whatever. We don't know. To this day, they do not treat us like adults, like the adults that we are. Having a whole family, I'm about to be 96, and they still treat me like I'm 13. You know what I mean? No, seriously, I don't know anything, so I don't know how to feel and how to welcome all this new stuff because I'm still a child, technically. So I don't know how to deal with new people coming in, and I don't know if I'm ready. And also, again, he's with my mother on paper, because the nigga ain't here. You know what I mean? He's not here. Does he live here? Who knows? God knows. But I don't know. I don't know if they like us. Do you like me, Malika?
I love you.
You know, but you know, you can never tell with the other siblings. You know, you have things going on, and you have, you know, big things in your life, and then no one shows up because why? Because you don't like maybe my mother. You don't like that he's. You understand? I don't know. So how does that make me feel?
Yeah. And
I'm just starting to like figure out like this kind of really does hurt. Like I didn't even do anything. I wasn't even here. I didn't even grow up with y'all. Like what the hell? I grew up with y'all, then y'all left. Y'all had the best life ever. You had the best of daddy. I have nothing of daddy. I had the financial stability of daddy. I didn't have the, oh, let's go, I don't know, shoot some hoops, ride a bike, let me teach you how to do. I didn't have all of that. So like, how do you hate me or hate us when
you don't really
I don't even know this nigga?
Yeah.
And I don't know any of the stories. So how do I keep accepting brothers and sisters when I myself don't even feel accepted? So I don't know. I don't know how to deal with it. So we just don't talk about it. We just, okay, you're my brother, you're my sister. We good. And, you know, we good. We talk, we shoot the shits, we get along, and we're good. That's it. And any of the backstory, the history, I can't tell you about it. I don't know. So that's my stance on it. Real quick. Because I really don't know, y'all. I swear to God.
No, you packed a succinct punch. You really did. That was
no. I really don't know how to deal. So I
asked because I'm like, I can totally see how you may not want to embrace this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it puts you in a tricky situation because it's like, well, they probably didn't know you existed, or you didn't like. It's I don't know. It's murky. It's murky waters, y'all. Not because you have two parents means that, you know, or you had the nuclear family means that shit is fucking sweet, you know, for all the people of divorce, all the kids of divorce. It does not mean that a nuclear family is where it's at. Because sometimes it really isn't. You don't know these two niggas. You don't know these people. And that's how I feel. Do I know them? No. Now that, you know, I'm with child, I'm like, well, maybe I will, you know, call my mom. Like I told her the other day, I'm like, hey, do you know that since I've been pregnant, you've never been to the house? Like my house? She's like, yeah, but I see you all the time. Yes, I come to you. I've fallen off your porch. I've hurt myself. I've been to you. You know what I mean? I've been to you, and that's like credit to my partner because it's like, oh, let's stop by your mom. I'm like, why? He's like, but again, he knows love. He knows what it is to have a mother's love and to this, that, and the third. So he's trying to, you know, teach me because I wasn't really shown it, so I don't really know it. So I'm like, why? Why we gotta? I just want to go home. I need to go home. But then we'll stop in countless times. So she's counting that as her seeing me as her coming to the house. I'm like, bro, I live 5 minutes away. You've never been here. You don't come here. Daddy has never been here. Ever. Oh, wow.
Ever.
I mean, because I'm saying, oh, wow, like that's surprising.
Because there's stairs. He can't do the stairs. Do you know that this man is in Guyana climbing 72 stairs just to get up to the front door? This is the shit I'm talking about. This is the shit I'm talking about. So not because you got two fucking parents who are married on paper means that this shit don't mean nothing. Sometimes nothing. They might as well have been separated. Maybe I would have been
I'll say
accepted
this. Wait,
by everybody else.
wait. I'll say this. I won't say it means nothing because it does mean something to some people. It meant a lot to me, right? So it meant a lot not to have that. Yeah. So I don't think it means nothing. It's just we just have to acknowledge that we're all having individual experiences that are also very similar to everybody else in the world.
Right.
So it's like everything is not as it appears, which is always going to be true.
Right.
I think,
but to say
that it's not even just that everything is not as they appear. It's that everybody doesn't have what they need. Right.
Yeah.
There are people for whom a nuclear family is everything.
Yeah.
There are people for whom I don't need the nuclear family, but I do need you to come visit me, climb these fucking steps and come show
the love. Yeah.
Right? Like people need, that's why comparative suffering never works for anybody.
Also, it's like, even if you were to grow up in the same home, because I had to explain this to my little sister. I'm like, we did not have the same mother. We had two totally different experiences because she was not the same woman she was when I knew her. By the time you got her, she has it's not the same. So it's like, depending on when you're born, who this person is, that's the parent that you get. And that's just what it is. But I do want to know, Malika, do you feel kind of like a responsibility or some type of like inclination to meet the new old children that's always been there?
I mean,
that's a hard no. Yeah, that's a no. That's a no. It's fine.
I won't say no. Here's what I will say. I have and as a matter of fact, the truth is I have this stance with all of my siblings, like Salone included, everybody included. Like, you fuck with me, I fuck with you. Right? Like, relationships, I think if there's anything that I have learned from being in relationship with my father is that mutuality and reciprocity need to happen. Otherwise, like, it's one person working for a relationship and that just never works for anybody, right? So like the siblings that I'm in contact with now and the siblings that I can say that I have any kind of relationship with now, it's because they have made an effort. You know what I mean? So in terms of this new person coming in, if I have the opportunity to connect with her, absolutely.
All right, let's do
you
it
fuck
together.
With me, I fuck with you.
Let's do it together. Let's see what happens.
Like, it is what it is. Yeah, we can do it together.
Let's see what happens. So
we can do it together.
Let's check back in.
Where is Rhonda at?
Diana. Where my dad is, and has not made an effort to go see her because he's waiting for our brother to go. Our two brothers to go there.
Good old Steve.
Good old Steve. Yep.
And Steve's gonna roll for somebody else talking about
Steve is the family PR.
Yeah,
okay,
he is the sibling, the sibling whisperer. He really is. I'll give him that because he finds y'all niggas. But then, no, but my dad is there, and he's waiting for my older brother Steve and Osafo O2 to get there so that they can all go together to go meet this. What? They weren't even a thought when you were out there making her. So why can't you make time to go and see someone who's been longing for you for 50 years? Like, that is wild to me. And
do you guys think, or have you thought about your father feels like ashamed that he has fathered all these children across countries?
Why are you in my brain? Because I was like,
No.
And across generations, and this is a lot. And again, this is not me defending your father, right? This is not that, but it's just like that's a lot. Maybe he's like
no,
he's proud.
Yeah.
You know what he
very
does?
much.
What is it? We were put on the earth to procreate and prosper. That's what he says. That's his
He said that Bible said be
be
fruitful and multiply.
Yes.
He said
yes.
He said it's given exponential.
Yeah.
He said exponents.
That's what he
Lord.
said. That's what he said. So I do not think that he's ashamed of it. Absolutely not.
I also don't think that he's ashamed.
No.
When I speak with him, I don't get the sense that he's ashamed at all. Here is what I will say. There are a lot of, we have talked a lot about the mistakes that our parents have made, respectively. My bottom line is that I love my dad. I have wanted this man in my life for all of my life. I have never known a me not wanting him in my life. And I will probably go to my grave, not even his grave. I will probably go to my grave wanting him in my life. Same thing with my mother. I love my mother. I will go to my grave wanting my mother in my life, right? I have a need for both of them in my life. But what I'm not going to do is act like I'm not going to put either of them on a pedestal. I'm not going to act like either of them are perfect or like they didn't make mistakes that I have to deal with the consequences for. And that's always going to be the thing for me. I love you. 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 I love you to the ends of the earth. Make no mistake about it. I don't think that my father needs to be ashamed for the life that he's led. I don't think that my mother needs to be ashamed for the choices that she made separating herself from the life that my father led. Neither of them need to be ashamed, but they do need to understand that other people are living the consequences of their choices. And that's always going to be what it is for me. Is my father ashamed? No, he's not. He's absolutely not. I just spoke to that dude 2 days ago. He's not ashamed. He is perfectly happy right where he's at, finding and discovering all of the kids.
And leaving us to deal with the shit.
He's joyful about it.
Leaving us to deal with it.
He's excited to tell you about this new kid that Steve discovered. So no, he's not ashamed. But why won't he take that additional effort and like Salone said, go do the thing for this person who has been longing for you for so long? I just don't know that I don't know that he has the capacity to.
Perfect. He doesn't. And that's it. That's the end of the story. That's the end of him. And he just doesn't. And it leads back to, selfishness and just everything is all about him. Like you create all this shit. Oh yeah, this is your brother, by the way. Okay, bye. What? Like, what do you mean? This is literally how it happened. And he's like, I did what I was supposed to do. You guys know each other. All right, you figured that out. And that's it. It's like, there's no of how it happened. There's nothing of it. Nothing. And it's not that he doesn't have the capacity to do these things, because he does. If you tell him about politics, oh gosh, how many hours you got? You know what I mean? Like he will go in that about politics, shit about freaking China, shit any country, anything you want to talk about, he will be able to go into detail and tell you play by play. But when it comes to his kids and his shit, that never happened. Never happened. No capacity to do so.
Plus, I think it's because he has a very particular idea of what it means to be a dad.
Right.
I was saying, I think we've discussed before that your dad is probably a narcissist. And
did y'all have this discussion? I missed this. Really?
There's really, maybe it was private, I don't know. But that's hard to come back from.
Yeah.
Like they are kind of some of the worst people in the world.
Yes,
so.
Daddy is a narcissist. He's very narcissistic. And it took me a while to figure it out, but he is a narcissist. It's all about him.
And I think that's also the crazy part is like, when we hear this language a lot, it's about our partners, our like people we date, our friends. Oh, your parents have the same fucking issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're the genesis of somebody's issues that you have is their narcissism and their own psychopathy. And we forget that. And this again, this is not excuse. This is like, oh yeah, like
muffin cap back blue. I don't. if you're listening to this, you should probably watch this because I'm watching Malika have a revelation. She's the meme of the lady with the numbers figuring it out. But yes.
Wait, Asia, there was you had another episode. I forget what it was. I think it was about love bombing people and like where that comes from. And I feel like I did in that episode where I'm like, wait, do I love bomb people? Am I that person? Like, and now I'm like, oh no, am I a narcissist? Like, did I inherit that? Oh no. Is that why none of my relationships work?
Yeah, oh man, parents really fuck us up,
I mean,
man. That's
I'm sure there's a BuzzFeed test to figure this out.
Right. Please stay tuned for our episode where we do where we talk about, what is it, demisexuals?
Demisexuals.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Sapiosexuals?
No. I thought it was a demisexual. I think they said guys, this is a two-parter.
No, it's a morisexual.
A what sexual?
A more sexual. Remember, it was the aromantic.
Aromantic.
That's what it was.
Yes, I was
Aromantic.
aromantic. Yes, it was aromantic. Yes.
I think I've become an aromantic, but that's crazy. I'm telling you,
I doubt that.
So long you could never.
No, I did the test.
Right.
I did the test. The test that so.
You could never.
We all did
that
that test.
I said
The test was wrong. The test was wrong, girl.
The test was definitely wrong.
No,
Very wrong.
Okay, guys, we are going to wrap this one up. Thank you for rocking with us. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I hope that you did too.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, you know my rules. Keep that shit to your motherfucking self. So we're just gonna thank Malika.
Thank you.
And Sloan. Yes. And we are going to let Asia take us into our peep game. Put us on, sis.
Okay. All right. So we discussed Salone's baby shower quite a few times in this episode. And I just want to shout out and put you onto her party planner, Tracy. I want to link, of course, her socials and also her cousin Katisha, who did the cake at the wedding, at the baby shower, because Tracy is amazing. Because we walked in, I mean, she also did Salone gender reveal, and she's a party planner. But when I say she transformed that space into truly a winter wonderland in 4 hours, it was amazing. I mean, her detail. Also, some of the rental stuff came like not in the best shape, and she went off. And I love a party planner who will go off. And she was like, my client does not want this, and my client does not want that. And I was like, that's right. You fight for that client. So I'm gonna link you to her socials. She does a great job. She I don't know what her and Salone had discussed previous to the planning process, but I felt like it was what Salone wanted. It was so perfect. It was so beautiful. Oh, so she's also a mind reader. Perfect. Because also the floor was like a brownish, beigeish, dirty checkered situation. And see, Malika, you didn't even see the floor. You didn't even know there was a floor exactly. Because Tracy decorated that shit so well. No one saw the floor.
To me.
Exactly. Transformation. So also she's Black, duh. And Katisha is her cousin who also makes cakes and sweets and treats. I didn't have any cake because I was busy, but I heard the cake was good, and I saw the treats she made are really, really pretty. So I'm gonna just put them on. They're based in Brooklyn, but they travel. And if you're having a party coming up, hit them up. They do a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job.
Shout out to my friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me say the name real quick. I forgot the most important part. So Tracy's business is called Tracy B, and she's the event owner of Tracy. Now Tracy is spelled TRVCEY.
The kids.
Probably Instagram reasons. Yeah, kids. And then Katisha, her business is called Lotus Cakes and Treats.
That's a pretty name.
And I will link them both in our description notes.
The cake was gorgeous.
Very pleasant too. Very pleasant.
The cake was
you gotta
gorgeous.
Very pleasant.
Oh yeah, very pleasant. Because I'll say this: I'm like a I don't like being part of a team. I don't. I like to be the leader of things, and not because I'm bossy. I just like I have my own organization thing going on. I'm a solo person. I don't want to be part of a team. I like to do that's me. But like working with Tracy,
news to my ears.
oh yeah. I mean,
As
here's
we
the
are
thing.
in a partnership.
I'm very no. Here's the thing. I don't mind taking direction. I'll get to this point. The point I'm making is I prefer to do things alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm working with someone and I see that they are confident and they can do the job, I don't mind falling back. I'm not someone who needs to be in the front all the time. But if I'm doing it by myself, I'll do it by myself. Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't like dead weight, essentially is what I'm saying.
Mm.
But I don't mind being in a partnership where we're both pulling our weight. That's fine. So Tracy, she was like able to give us all the instructions, the demands, the commands, and she's very pleasant. It wasn't like, no attitude. I'm asking 1,000 questions. Tracy, where does this go? Where's this go? Where's this go? And she's just like, over there, over there, do it like this. It's like that. Like, she's not upset. She's not like, why? No, she's just very like organized, detailed, pleasant person to work with.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Tracy.
So yes. Shout out to Tracy and shout out to Katisha.
Tracy, for real. Yeah, I can vouch. It really was beautiful. It was like really, really pretty.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. And guys, thank you for tuning in. As always, bye.
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 Bye. Later, sis.
Yeah.
Y'all, we finna be
It's
live.
pontificating, yeah, we back again. So tell your friends to